So is reinventing yourself a possibility? I want to say it's definitely possible. I want to share my example. For 22 odd years, I spent my time in my work life as a corporate executive. I was fortunate to work for some of the best companies. I spent a lot of time in the distribution side of things, whether it was distribution development, distribution management, and just running a distribution channel. Right? I spent time in the financial services space, and I also spent a little time as I began my career in the telecom space. But 8 years ago, I decided to pivot. I decided to reinvent myself and decided to work in the space of leadership. I decided to work in the space of adding value to people. That became really my pivot that I actually made. As you can see, from distribution to distribution of hope, right? I like to call it that way. So I want to give you a caveat right up front saying, hey, I've not arrived as yet, but my boat is a little steady at this point in time. And I would like to say that it's steady because of 5 principles that I've learned over the last 8 years that have helped me to reinvent myself. And hopefully these 5 principles can be of help to you. Number 1, you need to have a very strong why. Why do you want to reinvent yourself? Right? Don't fall for a midlife crisis that is causing you to reinvent yourself. Don't reinvent yourself because your current assignment is difficult, your current assignment is stressful, and therefore you're looking at an escape route. I find many people choose that as a reason to reinvent themselves, and you know what? Life becomes even worse. But having a very clear why. For me, my clear why was I want to add value to people. I want to use my experience, right? I want to use all the challenges that I've seen, that I faced when I worked, right? How can I help others who are going through similar challenges to overcome them? So that was my clear why. Second is, you have to have a clear what. What are you going to do? So your what needs to be clear. I find, again, people fail in the attempt to reattempt because they're trying this, that, and the other. A clear what is supremely important. For me, my clear what is stay focused on leadership, stay focused on coaching, stay focused on consulting, right? That's the area that you need to be working on, right? So I was very clear about the what. And that, in hindsight, has actually helped me. Thirdly, be patient with your how. Even though you're clear with your what and you have a strong why, from day one, your how is not going to be clear. Your how is something that you will discover over time. It will evolve, right? And you've got to be patient and persevering. The only way to find out your how is through perseverance, by trying different things, right? And methods, trying different methods, and finally arriving at your sweet spot. For example, when I started, I put on a lot of ads. I went the B2C route, right? And I said, okay, I'm going to get a lot of clients the B2C way. So let me put out advertisements on social media, on the Instagrams, the LinkedIns of the world, and hopefully somebody will call me, right? It didn't really work. It didn't give me the returns that I wanted, right? Then I said, let me work on the emotional intelligence space and run an initiative there. I ran that. Well, it did not give me so much of success, but each of these attempts gave me clues of what my how was. So as I was careful to understand what worked and what didn't work, I got a piece of that puzzle and I was able to put that puzzle together. That helped me to be very clear about what I needed to do and how I would need to do it. And that's helped me to do what I do today, right? To solve organizational challenges, leadership challenges, might I add, and add value to individuals. It also helped me to frame my interventions. How will my interventions be framed? It also helped me to, from a diagnostic point of view, how should I diagnose what issues of organizations are? So the how became clear. It's still becoming clear, but it's clear to some extent, right? Fourthly, I'll say you got to be humble and you got to be hungry. Because when you're working in an organization, you got a title. It also comes with entitlement. It also comes with power. So people come to you. People wait on you, right? People are out there to share what they have for you and how their services will help you. But when you reinvent yourself and you put yourself out there, right? It's so important to realize that you can't be led by ego, but you got to be willing to swallow your ego, right? That's the trick of the trade. It's about, people calling up people only to find they're constantly in meetings. It happens, yeah, right? But it's about handling your ego. You got to be hungry as well, right? Hungry means learn. You got to be a very active learner, learning all the time. That is super important. Learning once a day minimum, but learning several times during the day. Whether it's certifications, whether it is about researching, whether it's about reading, got to learn. Humble, hungry. And finally, I'd like to tell you that you've got to be having your own definitions of success. When you work, the definitions of success in the short term and long term are pretty clear. You're in sales, how many numbers did you have today, right? That's the short term. In the long term is, did you get the promotion? Did you get a good increment, right? Did you get a good rating? Those become long-term definitions, right? Or ESOPs, right? But when you work and you want to reinvent yourself, it's very different from working, right? You got to have your own definitions of success, and you got to stick by it. For me, my definition of success is, how many people have I met? How many people have I added value to? How many people have I, been able to coach? Those becomes definitions of success. So having your own unique definitions of success becomes super important. So friends, these are 5 principles that have helped me to reinvent. I really want to wish you the best. And I want to tell you that there can be nothing more satisfying than reinventing yourself. You don't have to do what you've always done for the rest of your life, right? There comes a point when reinventing yourself becomes a necessity. So here's wishing you the very best. Do feel free to reach out to me for more tips. I'll be happy to pass them on to you.